Welcome to Daily Life Connection, our video talk time, as we continue to explore who God is and how He works and how that affects the way that we live. And the more we get to know Him, the more positively we live, the more joyfully we live, the more relaxed we live, the more whole we are as we live out our days. So it's really important to know who God is, to know who He really is, not just maybe what religion has told us He is or what our own minds may have conjured Him up to be. Well, today I'm going to tackle a tough topic, the topic of fear, the fear of the Lord. How does that make us feel better about ourselves, or how does that enable us to live? Well, Psalm 111, verse 10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." How does being afraid of God help us live with wisely? Well, we need to understand that word fear, I believe, in the context of the scriptures. It does not mean cowering in a corner, afraid that God is going to smack us up the side of the head if we do something wrong or something that displeases Him. That's an abusive father. That is not our God. 2 Timothy 1:7, He has not given us a spirit of fear. That is not. How many times through the scriptures are we told, fear not, fear not, fear not? Jesus said it in John chapter 14, fear not, no, don't fear, don't be afraid. So it isn't that kind of a God a God that gives us that kind of a response where we cower, we're afraid we're going to get hit or chastised or called out or whatever. That can't be who God is, because the rest of Scripture is so clear that that response to God is not a normal response to who God really is, if that makes sense to us. So let's just talk about it a little bit. That word fear, it carries the idea of awe. The awe of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That sense of wonder, that sense of His incredible, beyond us, totally other. We can't begin to grasp Him. We can't begin to get our heads around Him. We can't begin to explore the depth and the breadth and the height of who God is. And, they discover another black hole or another constellation or things in the galaxies and the universe, and we go, wow, we can't begin to comprehend a light year, let alone hundreds of thousands or millions of light years. Can't begin to comprehend it. That awe of God, like, wow. It's also reverence, or to revere God. Reverence is to so highly esteem someone that it affects how we interact with them. If there is somebody that I really highly, highly esteem, I revere them. I revere them for their intellect or their spirituality or their achievements or whatever it may be. If Lionel Messi, I'm a soccer fan, if one of the greatest soccer players in the world, if he was going to come to our house for supper tonight, it would be like, whoa, Lionel Messi is coming. Lionel, I'd dress up probably, and I have such high respect for his craft and for what he does, and I'd be thinking, what is it I want to ask him, and is there something I can present to him? And that's the fear of the Lord. That's the reverence of God, because He is so amazing. And then there's also a sense of deep respect. I kayak and have done it for a lot of years, and have kayaked on the ocean, do quite a bit. And you need to have a fear of the ocean. And again, it's not something that makes me tremble or keeps me away from it, but it means that kind of respect for the ocean, of its power, Um, it affects how I behave. I make sure I've got my flotation device, and I make sure I've got my flares, and I make sure I've got, because I recognize that its power is so beyond me that I need to approach it with a reverence and a respect. That's part of it. But lastly, here's what I really want to share with us today. I heard someone talking about that they were talking to a rabbi and talking about the fear of the Lord. And this rabbi said, one of our understandings as Jewish rabbis of the fear of the Lord is this. This is powerful. You're going to love this. It's recognizing the presence of God in every person, every place, and every moment. Recognizing the presence of God in every person, every place, and every moment. That's the fear of the Lord. That's the respect for God. That's the awe of God, or reverence for who He is. And it transforms how I live my day. When I'm looking for Him in every person, I suddenly see people differently. I see that mother preparing a meal for the family, and I go, do I see God in this, in her? Yes, yes. Who is God? He's our provider. Does He want to feed us? Does He want to nourish us, our physical bodies? Yes, He does. Here's that mom partnering with God, participating in God. That farmer out in the field, plowing the field with his tractor. He's participating with God. We see God's presence, God's heart in that. That doctor that's healing that little child's broken leg or whatever it may be. There's the heart of God. As we begin to look for God in every person, an expression of well, we are the image of God. So we should be seeing God in each other. I remember years ago being in Houston and with Ralph Neighbor, who was the head of a cell group movement way back then. And I remember him saying, the Christ in me greets the Christ in you. That's part of that, recognizing the presence of God in other people. And every place. Sometimes we think it's only in church on Sunday morning or whatever, or at the beach at sunset. Wow, God's presence. He's everywhere. He's with me in the doctor's office. He's with me in the dentist chair. He's with me when I'm driving my car and stuck in traffic. He's with me when I'm taking the garbage out. He's in every place. Every place. And all if I'm and see if I don't think He is, then I'm not looking for Him. And I might miss, well, I will miss His presence in that place I am at the moment. And every moment. Not just when I can get alone with Him and read my Bible, but when I'm brushing my teeth. Do I recognize God's presence in that moment? When I'm listening to a boring, I was going to say sermon on Sunday, but that wouldn't be very nice of me, would it? A boring lecture. He's present in that moment. When I'm doing a difficult task, He's present in that moment. So, just encouraging us today. I just encourage us as we go through our day. Look for God in every person you connect with, in every place you find yourself, and in every moment of your day. Now, I know we won't do every 10 seconds, but look for moments today when God is present. That is the beginning of wisdom. That's the beginning of how to live wisely. That's the fear or the respect, the awareness of God and His presence. It's giving Him esteem and value in our lives. It's opening ourselves up to Him because of our deep respect and awe of who He is. Well, something to chew on today. If you have some comments or questions, love to have you put them down below, and we'll have a little discussion about it. God bless. Talk to you tomorrow.